Hello, hello.
Here we are,
How are you?
alive and well, thank you. And you?
I am fantastic. Good to know.
Oh, fantastic is good, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Doing
Yeah.
really well.
So
Um,
you invited me, or Jenny invited me. So
yep.
there's some success to what I'm doing. I'm flattered, but that's good. I think there is. I
Yeah,
think there is some. I think there's something happening. So
I love it. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, what we're doing is we are just doing these sort of interviews with Merchant Master members and talking about some of the ways that they use Merchant Mastery, the way that it's helped them, how it's impacted you, how it's maybe changed your thinking.
Assist and maybe share some wisdom, some little nuggets here and there. I'd be glad to. So you're welcome to pick my brain.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for doing this. We super appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Um, so let's start this way. If you could just tell us who you are, what your business is, or tell tell the people who are watching this like who you are and what your business is, and then I'll ask you some more questions.
All right. All right. So I'm Martin Kronheid, partner in a small business, mom and pop business, I would call it, with my wife, Deborah Kronheid, who is the founder of the business, who typically is the front person gal, the mover and shaker. And I put things in place and kind of tidy up. I think of a cartoon where when the cartoon moves, it creates, I think it was a Charlie Brown thing. Pigpen, he moves, there's a dust behind him. Someone's got to clean up. So, and I say that in a good way because we all have different skills. I cannot do what she does. I cannot. She is a wonderful closer in the sales world, in direct sales. And I can close a deal in the direct sales world, but not as efficiently as her. So my forte is production, putting systems in place and just figuring stuff out. And so we have this little business. Deborah came up with this idea of bracelet. I don't even have one with me, but anyways, I do. A bracelet with a hand and a paw symbol on it. She was missing our dogs. She woke up and drew it in the middle of the night, and then woke up in the morning and told me about it. And Deborah, being Deborah, said, you know what? I'm going to get an artist to draw it a little bit better. I'm going to get some manufactured. We're going to go to Greece. We're going to go here. We're going to go travel all over the place and get this manufactured and make it happen. And she did. So yeah, and then this was several years ago. This may have been 7+ years ago. And then we did the trade shows. That's our background, doing trade shows in another industry. And we knew the trade shows would work. And we started with the local markets, like a lot of us do. And because of our experience, we go, well, let's go bigger. Let's take it national. And then we took it to the United States. We're here in Canada. We took it to the States, took it to the biggest shows there, and ended up getting a bunch of wholesale clients. And then we got fortunate. Somebody at the New York show was with QVC, the shopping network. So we got picked up there. So to speed up the story a little bit, that was great. We got great big purchase orders for a few years, and then with COVID and everything died down. So I knew we had to sharpen our game as far as e-commerce. And that's where Merchant Mastery came about. I think they reached out to Deborah, or Deborah saw an ad or something.
Mm.
And we followed up with it. And that's been the best thing we've ever done, because even though I'm production oriented, even though I learned how to build websites 15 years ago and thought I knew a little bit about computers and things like that, and social media and things like that, I had no idea the depth of knowledge required to put it all together. There
Mm.
is there is so many elements to it that need to be orchestrated, that need to be taught. You need to learn this stuff from the experts. And I learned a long time ago from someone who said, a very successful man that said, I'm not the smartest guy out there, but I'm smart enough to know to hire people smarter than me.
I love that. What do
And
you think?
yeah, and he became the most successful in his industry in the United States. So I always remembered that, So I did, you can't be proud. You can't. You're going to get humbled, you know. You know, if you walk into a situation where you think you know how to do it, which is my story. I thought I knew how to do this. I didn't.
Mm,
I didn't.
yeah. What do you think, like, what were some of the challenges that you were like, thinking back to that time when you're going to this trade show and you have all sorts of experience running other businesses, but particular to your business now, what do you think were some of the biggest challenges that you had that Merchant Mastery helped you resolve?
I had to break through this barrier of e-commerce is very unique and different than other businesses at the different business world. And I got to think different. And I was trying to think different, where actually e-commerce is a digital version of direct sales. Right? You're at a trade show, you're romancing them, and blah, blah, blah. You get a name, a number, you're telling them features and benefits, you're listening to questions, you're answering their pain points. And that only came about a few months ago, like, duh, why am I making it so hard? We know the questions people have. We just got to answer those questions on our website and
Yeah.
through our advertising. And we need to, because we were so seasoned at doing trade shows, we knew the top 5, 10 questions. So answer those questions in your e-commerce site. And this is what Merchant Mastery does. It does it several ways, through proper website building, through proper creative buildings, your artwork and things like that, and your language. Yeah, I find it very intriguing. And so I pull that knowledge from the direct sales, the old school sales, which I'm not sure people still do it. Realtors do it, car salespeople do it, that is a profession. And if you understand that, and that helps. Now, there may be people who've never been in direct sales or done trade shows. Then you've got to dig in a little bit deeper. You've got to really lean on what these guys at Merchant Mastery are teaching you, because they will take somebody, I truly believe they can take somebody without a background like mine.
Yeah.
And show them the ropes, And if they're open, if they're teachable, they'll get it, and they'll enjoy the success. But I go back to what I said a couple of minutes ago, and that was, I kind of resisted that. This is a new world. I gotta learn something new. No, it's not a new world. Just take what you learned and digitize it, basically. So that was a big takeaway.
What do you think about, what advice would you have for people who are coming into Merchant Mastery and maybe don't have the background that you have, where you had that, your customers and you got to talk to them and have that experience at the trade shows? What would you tell somebody about identifying their customer, creating the perfect customer profile?
Well, hopefully they've designed made a product, or are excited about a particular product. They've got to ask friends and family. They've got to start small in their community and just say, what do you think? I'm going to sell this. And listen carefully. It's too big, it's too small, I can't afford it, it's too expensive, I want it in this color or that color. They've got to listen, and there's going to be some objections. I don't know if I would take it. Yeah, those are the most valuable ones, And then ask them why. Why do you think this is a goofy product? Oh, I don't know. Just because. And then vice versa. Why do you think this is a great product? Well, I would buy one in a heartbeat. You've got to listen. You've got to do your homework. And And there may be other ways to find out if it's a popular item on other platforms and other people are successful with it. Well, you've got just as good a shot as they do, you know?
How does knowing all of that, how has knowing all that about your customers helped you in your business? Like you were talking about your systems and things like
Mhm.
that. It's been your experience having that deep knowledge about your customers that you get from creating the profile.
The School of Hard Knocks, Deborah invents this beautiful bracelet. And me being me and us being us, we go, let's take it to, we did the little community shows, as I told you, markets and things like that. We said, let's take it to Vancouver, big city, and we'll go to a trade show for the dog pet world. Nobody liked it. Nobody liked it. They walked by and they almost laughed. That's weird. And that can be discouraging, right? Until we realized it's a gift item. And our success came from all of these. We were up to, at one time before COVID, 150 stores in the US handling it. And they were gift stores at airports, gift stores here, gift stores there, and all the nice communities in the States, all the nice travel destinations, these gift stores would handle it. It's a spontaneous product. It's, you don't know what to get your brother, sister, mom, dad, $50. This is not going to kill me. Okay, got it. So that was a main focus for us. It's like, okay, we got it. It's a gift item.
We know who our customer is. It's
Yeah,
not the animal. It's not the person who has the pet. It's the friend or the sister or the brother of that
and it
person.
became a pet memorabilia thing. And I'm going to fast forward several years with Kurian with Merchant Masteries. He looked at the site. He goes, "This looks like a pet, like a more memorial thing." And I'm going, yeah. I'm thinking only maybe 5-10% of the people are buying this as a memorial thing. And Kurian, with his wisdom, said, check your reviews. Oh, we got lots of reviews. And sure enough, I bought this for my sister who lost the dog. We lost Fifi, we lost this. And so there's my point of listening again and learning. You got to be open, And there's more layers. We had an original bracelet that was more of a bangle style, thicker. And this is the shopping network made this popular. So we thought, okay, well, that's popular. Let's make another one too. Let's make a flat leather one. And mistake. Well, if you're successful in the one, keep pushing that one. It's this, we make things complicated, and I'm guilty of that. Like, oh, I'll make a better one. No. History shows you just sold 40,000 of them or more. Why you want to change it? So you get a lot of aha moments, but you've got to be teachable, and you can't be so proud that, like, I've been in business so many years, or my dad was in business, or I'm a pretty sharp guy or gal. I can handle this. You'll probably fail, to be honest with you. You got to go. You hire people who are smarter than you, right?
Merchant Masteries, that's what Merchant Mastery is for you.
Absolutely. I'm like many others where we hired marketing companies. I think a total of 3, maybe more, and they took thousands. I think even in the tens of thousands from us, with terrible results. And again, there's a learning experience, right? I could have gave up and say, well, the experts don't know. I'm going, no. Why are there so many websites out there getting lots of nice reviews and becoming so popular? There is a way to do this. And Merchant Mastery came our way. So very thankful. I mean, these guys are top notch. They really are. They're professionals at what they do. They're not wannabes. They're not customer service type of people that are with a little bit of knowledge to make you happy. These guys know their stuff. I would say, as far as I'm concerned, the best of the best. They cream of the crop, and I can attend these classes all week long. I already attended one this morning. I'm going to attend another one after this one. I mean, keep learning. always be learning.
I love that. It's like always be closing, always be learning.
Yeah.
Thinking along those lines, so that now I have two questions for you, but I'll start with what you learned about building your website, not necessarily the technicalities of building your website, but how to construct an effective website that highlights your products and speaks to your customers. What were some of your big takeaways when you kind of like learned that aspect of optimizing your site for Merchant Mastery?
It goes back to the, I think Merchant Mastery calls it your offer stack. What you're doing is presenting your product efficiently at the right time in the right space. There's only so much real estate on your screen. So this is what I was guilty of. Again, I came with that little bit of someone taught me to build websites 15 years ago. So I watched the first few minutes of the first module. It says you need a good site, turn it off. Spent a month, or not a month, say 2 weeks building a great site. Turn the modules back on, and you should build it this way and that one. Just wasted 2 weeks of my life. Well, you got to suck it up, Cupcake, and say, okay, I'm listening. Now I'm listening. And this should be here. This should be here. Your offer should be here, and so on. Images should look like this. Reviews should look like that, and so on and so on. And that's the beauty of Merchant Masteries. There's enough studies done, and they're tapped in so deeply. They know, this works. Do it. Listen. You're not listening. So just do it.
And go to the coaching calls and we'll tell you, hey,
I say that because I'm the number one guilty person here, but come on, you gotta be teachable. That's all I can say. So you gotta be teachable, and it's gonna take a while.
What were the results once you did that? What were the results once you
so
you spent 3 weeks like reinventing the wheel, and then Dan's like, here's the wheel for you. Once you did that, what happened?
Well, the aha moment goes on, right? It goes like, and that's somewhere around the same time where I go like, don't be an idiot. Don't try and reinvent it. Just take that wisdom from the past world and and that's basically what they're doing. It's like like I said before, they're answering the questions, the objectives, or the objections, because you always get objections. Like I said, if you've been in any business and you've done trade shows, there is 5-6 questions you got to answer right away, or you can expect, and then the opposite too. And this may not apply to our situation, but I remember doing it a trade show and getting one of these aha moments about 10-15 years ago, maybe longer. And big trade show, 140,000 people are going through this show over 10 days. You make a good portion of your year's annual revenue there. And you set up a booth and you spend a lot of money. And we went 4 booths. Let's go bigger. And we built this whole thing. And now people are coming to your booth, and I'm ready for them. And then a lot of people started coming to the booth, but I spent time with this guy for at least a half hour, and discovered after that, he goes, well, thank you, Martin. My brother or my son in Colorado is thinking of doing something. Maybe I'll share that with him. I just wasted half an hour, 40 minutes with a guy, and there's 3 other people that I probably could have closed. You know what I'm saying? So get those questions out, qualifying stuff out of the way. Now, does that apply to, I'm going to see how that applies to the website.
Know your customers, know who's actually you're talking to, and
but so
qualify people immediately.
Absolutely. And so we qualified. I said, okay, we need 2 or 3 questions. Huh? You from the area? Yeah. Hey, you have a home or a place you need remodeling? Yeah, I got a home down south here, and we're thinking of this. Perfect.
Yeah.
Got 2 questions.
If you do that, that's what your website is doing too.
Yeah.
So with your hooks, you're also disqualifying people, right? Is this you? No. Okay, I'm out. Great.
Great, great. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, yeah. So you're qualifying right away. So that's a good thing to know too. So, um, so we had to do that as well with, I'm gonna go back to the story where Kirian told me, he said, I think this is a pet memorabilia one. So now I gotta be careful because I still think I'm gonna say 50-50. I could be wrong. It's 50-50. Now I gotta be careful that my site is not only pet memorabilia. Did your dog die? Buy one of these, Well, no, my dog didn't die, but I like it. Can't I have one? So there's two audiences. So we're starting to use the word comfort jewelry. So that could comfort you when you're away. That could comfort you if your dog passed away, or comfort you when you're at the office. I mean, it's comfort jewelry.
Yeah, but it's like, it's finding the thread. And I think that's the kind of interesting piece of it, is that, like when oftentimes we think like this is the thing that makes my customer. And sometimes like when we have, it can be difficult to choose.
Mhm.
And we can also look at it like, okay, I'm really, like I said, I've gone through this and I've found the perfect customer profile, and I am now down to, let's say, 3 people. And some people want to be like, I have to get I have to talk to 3 different people. But we can also look at it like, what's the common thread between those people?
Right.
Because maybe the things that's similar far outweigh the differences. And for you, what's the similarity is the emotion of missing the pet, right? And how that shows up.
That's exactly the first line on our website, above the fold, is missing your fur baby. I mean, how many audiences is that? That's 2-3 audiences right there. Boom. Thank you very much. Avatars, you got. So, and so I've started tracking on your CV, customer lifetime value, CLV scorecard.
Mhm.
So we do it monthly. So I said, no, I'll also do it. I'll do one with all the months of this year on it. And I saw a trend going up. And as my knowledge increased, the stats started looking better, meaning the conversion rate, 1
Yeah.
point something, blah, 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 blah. I'm up to 2.5, 2.7, which is right. I researched the industry standard for jewelry, and it's between 2 and 3. So we're right in the middle, maybe a little bit higher than the industry standard. I mean, so you've got to watch your metrics too. You gotta record your progress, so you can see, and so you don't panic, which I did this morning. I mean, we're still human. I got on the call with Simon. I'm going, holy crap! I showed him that spreadsheet. Look at this, nice trend. The last couple of days we haven't had any sales. Well, I spent $250 yesterday and got $250 in sales. I don't feel like changing 4 quarters for $1. What do I do? Relax, he said. Relax. Days like this happen, so.
And we're
So,
looking at the overall trend too.
right, you look at over a month or a week or a few weeks. So, I bite the bullet. It hurts, to basically losing money. But it'll bounce back. It'll bounce
Mhm.
back.
Yeah.
And you got to tweak it. He said, well, here's some advice. Do this, set up this type of campaign, use your best audiences and your best creatives, and throw in a new creative. Let's see what happens, and set the budget around here. So that's, again, the beauty of Merchant Mastery, is hold your hand.
Can you talk a little, what's that?
Yeah, they hold your hand and tell you to go this way, right? Or that way.
Can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned this earlier, this is the other question I was thinking about asking you, and you just handed it to me on a silver platter, Martin, so thank you. But can you talk a little bit about coaching calls and how that has helped you, and also like what advice you would have for people who are maybe coming into Merchant Mastery or thinking about Merchant Mastery, how to take advantage of the coaching calls?
Well, what I would do is say, when you're watching the modules, you're watching their course, then focus on that. If it's this is how to build a website, make sure you go to those coaching calls to start with. You cannot juggle all the balls. Let's say there's 10 different balls to juggle. with all the different teachings and the different coaches at Merchant Mastery, you know, if there's 10 different balls to juggle, you can't juggle them all. You need to build a foundation. So you need to follow the course, the curriculum. And I've been guilty of jumping ahead, and I think that's a common thing with the students. Jump ahead. Oh, I know all this stuff. And oddly enough, months later, I go back to almost the beginning. Okay, I'll get some basics again, you know, or reminders or whatever. So just be diligent and think of it as building a house. You know, there's a foundation. You're going to go up, and you're going to go up, and you're going to learn more and more and more. I mean, that's why university courses take 4, 6, 7 years. You're not going to learn 7 years, you know, this, what you learn in year 7 and year 1. So, you know, I have a saying, inch by inch is a cinch. So, you know, just build on it, build on it. And again, rely on these and ask the questions. Don't be shy to ask the question. There's no dumb questions. Just ask. I mean,
Mhm.
there's going to be people that have been there for a couple of years, very successful. There's going to be people, and I could see them in some of these calls. I'm just starting, and they're kind of hesitant with the questions. Just ask the question. In fact, you probably get input from the others chatting with you, telling you, "This is what I did at work. This is what I did." So just be open to that.
So one of the things, like I know we were talking about using the coaching calls and I think that was the last thing that I had asked you.
Mhm, mhm.
And so just kind of thinking about that, like, so I'm thinking of, you know, sometimes that this idea of the objection that I think some people have coming in often is, I've been in business for a long time, I already know what I'm doing. I just need this. It's almost like I just need this one secret. I just need this, like, either, you know, it's kind of like I just need that.
Yeah.
And so when they come in and they see like, oh, you want me to do a perfect customer profile? I've been in business for X number of years or whatever. I'm wondering, since part of what you talked about was this urge that most of us have to sort of like reinvent the wheel, or to be like, no, I know this.
Mhm.
I wonder if you could speak to that sort of person who's kind of like,
Yeah. I think,
you want me to do all this?
yeah, I think I would think a good piece of advice is check your ego at the door. Right? I could have used that same line. Before Merchant Masteries, I even hate to say, but over 30 years, or well, almost 40 years in business. And I'm learning stuff that I've never learned before. Or it's being explained to me and organized in a way that makes sense for e-commerce. So you really, and I use this word a couple times, is you really need to be teachable. And you need to be patient, and I fight it daily too. I know what you're talking about. I'll move forward. I know how to do this. You know, and then you'll end up going back and listening to the tapes or being reminded in one of the sessions that you were wrong. So be patient, and I think as I was saying, is, you know, as a contractor, you start with a good foundation and you build up from there. You're not building the roof first. You're not putting the pretty shutters on the windows before you broke ground. You know, you got to get that foundation. These are all foundational teachings and more, and you grow from there. But it's tough to have a nice structure, a nice business, a nice e-commerce platform if you don't have a good foundation. So build that foundation, be patient, throw your ego aside, and listen to these guys, listen to these experts. You know, no, they may not have been in your industry for a couple of decades, but there are principles you need to follow, and these guys will teach you, guys and gals will teach you the principles. So listen carefully and apply it. You're going to make mistakes, yeah, but they're there to pick you up again, correct you. Get corrected almost every week. Learn from it, you know. So yeah, be open. I mean, you've paid for the course, you paid for the teaching, you paid for someone. So I mean, you wouldn't do that to an expert coming to fix your air conditioner or furnace, tell them how to do it. You hired him to do the job because he's an expert. So let the experts teach you and be patient. It's we all want it to happen quicker. Yes. Okay. Just jump ahead. I know what I'm talking about. Been in business for years. You're gonna go back, you're gonna go backwards, you know. You're missing out. You're missing out. So be patient. And it takes, for me, it took longer. And I imagine most of the people will say that crap. I didn't get super results in 30 days. Well, 30 days, you've just started building a foundation, you know. And you know, the other word Merchant Mastery uses when they're selling you their services is you need to be resourceful. So resourceful also means, which I discovered, is, you know, you need to fund this project for a little while. If it was that easy, everybody would do it, you know. If there was a magic bullet. No, it's a dozen things, you know, that you need to get right. And that takes time. And you may get lucky. We got lucky in a couple areas because we already had 40, 50,000 bracelets sold. So we had some knowledge there. And we had been in business before. We had some knowledge there, but you know, once again, you've hired e-commerce experts. Listen to them. You know, that's what I would say. And be patient, you know, and that's daily. I've been at it a year, almost a year, I think. I still want things to hurry up. Come on. Come on, look how much money I'm throwing at you. I got to get better results. But it's just, you know, I could show you my spreadsheet and it's just inch by inch is a cinch. It's just, but you got to make those corrections and adjustments. And
Yeah.
And you got to be careful. And I'm totally guilty of this. And that is, you make several corrections at once. And you go, well, which one made it better? I don't know. One of the three things I did made it better. So you don't know. So you need to be patient. Make a change. And watch it. Observe. Because there's enough tools out there, you know, with your Shopify analytics and more and more. You've got heat maps now. You've got this. You've got that. You've got all the tools to watch. So you tweak something, watch it. You know, tweak something, watch it. And don't tweak too much. I was told this morning in an earlier class, you're tweaking too much, Martin. You know, a year into it. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I just think that's good advice. Be patient. Be patient.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think? So thinking about, you know, everything that you just said, another thing that I often hear is, well, you don't know my business as well as I do, which is true, right? I don't know your bracelets as well as you do. I'm curious, how do you reconcile this idea that, like, you do come to the table with experience and do have this incredible advantage of, you know, of Simon, of Dan, of Scott, of Jenny, me, like all these people that are helping, we're incorporating your experience and all of our experience. I wonder if you could speak a little bit to that of how are you making decisions about, like, your experience, using your experience alongside of everything else that you're learning here?
I think it's always examining my knowledge, my experience, my history, and then put it through the filter, the lens of Merchant Mastery. And because there are going to be some differences. But you need to know, as you know, the art of closing a deal. You got to ask for the order. Ask for the order. Ask for, somebody said, what are the 3 things you need to do? Close a deal. Ask for the order. Ask for the order. Ask for the order. Right. So you need to. So these are some things that. So you do that. You got to do that on your site somehow, and you can ask it. And typically, I think you do have some marketing training background, don't you? You teach. Yeah, you do. I thought so. So there's objections when you're trying to close a deal. And sometimes they're valid objections. You can overcome it, but you may have to sweeten the pot. So how about another item for 30% off? Would that help you make a decision, Mr. and Mrs. Customer? So yeah, so you take, I just think, I got thinking about this yesterday. What could I say? And I go, it would really be helpful if someone took some sales courses. And get the mindset of closing a deal. Introducing yourself, romancing yourself, get some common ground, now get into the features and benefits, and then close the deal. A lot of people don't have that. And I must say, I didn't learn that till late in life. In fact, my first businesses, I was not the salesperson. I was in business with my brother, and he was the sales guy. And after years of being the production guy, I got thrown into the sales world because the economy was hurting, and someone says, why don't you try sales? And I know nothing about sales. Well, give it a try. Give it a try.
Yeah.
It was like being born again. It was like, you mean I had a business and I didn't know this stuff?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
What do you
somebody
think?
said about direct sales, and I'm not sure. I think it would be difficult for someone to understand business if they didn't understand sales.
So with that in mind, what do you think are, like, let's just say, like, what are 3 things that you think people need to know about like, it's interesting, right? Because there are business people, there are people in business, there are people, and I see this in Merchant Mastery, who are like, yeah, but I don't want to be too salesy. And so like I think when people say I don't want to be too salesy, they have in mind that, the stereotypical used car salesman who, back in the 70s really was trying to push a car on people who it just was not a good fit. So you're trying to offload something that neither of you wants and take their money for it. And nobody wants to be like that.
No.
But that's sort of like the vision I think that people have in their head when they say that.
No.
What is your take on it?
It's you've got to learn the art of persuasive speech, persuasive speaking. And I came into this world as a youngster, the shyest guy you've ever seen or heard. I total introvert, but it was a couple of things that changed my life. But one of them was that brief period in sales. And that is, whatever you're selling, let's say you're selling cars and someone came into the dealership, they're not there to buy a dishwasher. So you've already got a player, and you can confirm that. Time for a new car, folks? Yeah, okay, you just qualified, done. Right. So it's just kind of funny. Like, even for me, until I was 30, until I learned sales, I thought it was, let's talk nicely. Let's be nice to them, and they'll buy it. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose so many sales that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or not make any sales, right? I mean, so you've got to learn, you've got to have, I think, that mindset, and that will help. So don't be afraid. Like, there is someone in our course, I won't mention names, but it seems like they're afraid to compare themselves to the competition, thinking maybe I don't want to trash the competition. Well, you're not. It's going to be a legitimate question. So let's go back to trade shows. and I'll use a real life example. I did a lot of things, but one of the products was waterproofing of decks, beautiful waterproofing of decks. And we used this certain membrane. The other people would use liquid or fiberglass or something. And they would mention the company's name. Well, how are, and people would come directly in our booth. How are you better than them?
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah,
answer
'cause
it.
they are making comparisons. They're trying to make, so you're helping them make a decision.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to say we are better than this guy or this product because of this, this, and this.
Right.
Fortunately, we don't have a whole lot of competition, so we don't have to say that with or I don't think I say it.
Yeah.
Except that, you know, that our product differentiates because it's more, I believe, more heartfelt.
Mm.
You know, you can give someone a piece of jewelry and that's nice, and it may be very special because it came from a loved one, but you know, this one is really heartfelt, and we know that from the reviews. I could show you yesterday's review. They focused on the word heartfelt as well. You know,
Interesting. Yeah. So again, going back to knowing your customers.
Yeah. If I answered the question, what's the question again?
No, I think that did.
Yeah, you need that mindset of moving forward. Again, it's building. So every question I learned in direct sales when I was doing direct sales, and because I knew the product, a lot of the times, you know, one of the period was I knew construction, I knew home improvements, I knew that. So you could fire any question at me. So I was very comfortable. First of all, know your product inside out and backwards, you know your competition inside out and backwards. And then you can start anticipating the questions and
Yeah.
but then every answer, see, here's something that you may know, that the person who answers the question, the person who answers the question thinks they're in control. The person who asks the question is in control.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because you're
when
directing
you're
them.
in the sales process and someone asks you a question, good, we answer it. Then right away, you got to come back with a question. And then you direct, those questions go all the way down through the journey to closing the sale. But they're answering it, thinking they're in control.
Yeah.
But you're guiding them. Is that manipulation? It's persuasive speaking. You've got a job to do. You got to close the deal.
Yeah.
You eat what you kill that day, right? You're going to eat it.
And consistently asking questions that qualify people, because by doing that, it's allowing you to make the sale, and or it's allowing them, you can look at it this way. You can look at it like it's self-centered, like I just want to make a sale, or it can be like, if you're not the right, like, I'm going to save you some time here because you're looking at something and either I have it or I don't.
Yeah.
And if
I'm
I
a
don't,
consultant.
I want you to go find it.
Absolutely. You become the consultant, right? I mean, early on, you could ask them, do you like the red or the green one, right? Well, you make sure when you're closing the deal, you show them a red or a green one, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, just simple things like that.
So, and another thing that I'm curious about is like, so I'm thinking again of like, okay, what are the stages in merchant mastery? So we kind of went through knowing your customer and the discovery process. The two other things that we haven't really focused on is like the email campaigns and Facebook ads. And I wonder, like, I'll just kind of like batch those together in a way and allow you to pick which one you feel like has had the most impact or a big aha moment for you. But like, what do you think? Because they both like are so integrated.
They are. I mix the two. So what works in Facebook, I will use that creative, and I may adjust it in Canva or whatever. But if I know it's successful here, this specific hook or this specific image or this specific quote, if I got good clicks on that on Facebook, I'm going to use that, you know, in my headline or subject line in Klaviyo. This past few weeks, we focused on Father's Day. I think we did all right. Yeah, I feel good. I mean, we got
But
anywhere
you're
from,
always testing and iterating between like what you're like, so if you're coming up with a hook with an idea for how to sell your product, you're kind of like, in a way, you're testing that in Facebook, and then you're like, check, I can see immediately the
right.
response to this, and now I'm gonna take that and implement that. And does that work vice versa, where that sort of like, I have an idea, I'm gonna put it out in the world, test it, iterate, test it, iterate.
Well, it's usually one way from Facebook to Klaviyo. Because the luxury of Facebook is you can have 2 ad sets, maybe 3 or 4 ads in them. And then Facebook, I guess you got to trust their algorithms that these 2 ads are working the best. In fact, we're going to throw all the money at this ad. Oh, okay. Now, are they 100% right? Well, produce the sales for me, so I'm going to use that, or most of that information in a Klaviyo ad. But Klaviyo, we focus a little bit more on special occasions, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and things like that. Because once you do a creative that may be a Father's Day creative, that only has a certain lifetime on.
What
on
about the
that.
flows?
The flows, our flows do very well. So in fact, one of your colleagues mentioned my flows were ridiculously well. So, and you know what? I was set it and forget it. I just watched Kim, the modules. I think there was one class I attended, okay, set it all up. It was set it and forget it 3 months ago, and it's doing fine. Now I know I need to adjust it, because you can always improve. But
And do you know what the percentage of your sales are that come from the
we're at
flows?
20. I think last month we were at 26. I know I want to be 30, 35. Klaviyo revenue 27 last month, 21, 20. See, we went January, we were 20, went down to 19 in February, 20, 21, 27. And I've got a goal to hit 30. That would be my goal. And then after that, I'll go for more. But
Yeah, that's pretty good for set it and forget it.
yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is
So,
pretty.
okay, so that was total gross revenue from Klaviyo. So the flows was 45% of that. And so I think that's even above average. So 45% of the revenue from Klaviyo was from flows, 55 from campaigns. So,
That's fantastic. That's
yeah,
really,
yeah.
yeah,
So that's an important factor.
for sure. Yeah, this idea that you learn how to like create these automations because you're a systems guy, right? That must really resonate.
Yeah.
Automation just run in the background. That's 45% of the sales from Klaviyo. It's just happening. You don't have to do anything. You do it one time, that's it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's basically time management, because we wear a lot of hats. I'm learning new apps. I just got Judge.me. I'll figure that one out.
Yeah.
I've just bought Rebuy, and that's very just super comprehensive. I'm in the middle of training and learning by putting Rebuy on my site.
Yeah.
For increasing my average order value and things like that. But you're always learning. You're always learning here. But I know there's a lot more to learn as well. Yeah, I'm at the tip of the
Scratch
iceberg
the
here.
surface. Yeah. Yeah. What are you most proud of so far from what you've created or learned in Merchant Mastery?
Well, on the big picture is I'm happy that I'm learning something other than construction. I'm up the trail a bit. And to switch gears and do that. And I'd love to be on construction. I just loved working with my hands. I loved, my first trade, I was an iron worker, building bridges and buildings. I was the guy in the air connecting the steel together on the bridges and buildings, right? And it was so cool to leave the job site and drive away and look at your rear view mirror and see this building. Or you show up in the morning and go, I built that. Very tangible, right? Where this is like, holy crap, this is a little bit different. know?
Very, and like what's kind of fascinating that is like that to come from like working with your hands and building things, and then to go into like all this tech stuff. Like how was that experience for you? Coming in, coming from that background and being like, oh my gosh, I'm going to build my website. I'm going to learn how to do Facebook ads. There's all these things like Klaviyo. You say that word? Like, what are we doing here? Right? And you learned all of it.
Yeah. Well, it started with little luck, fortune or whatever. And that was, I was living in Hawaii. I moved there and Deborah and I moved there 07, I believe it was 08. And we had a neighbor who was very quiet and shy and barely wave at you. And then one day he had the guts to walk up to me and, hey, Martin, are you familiar with social media? Not really. And I'll speed up the story. He was the geek of geeks. Him and his team invented the internet browser. Photographic memory. Anything he did. So he took up scuba diving, became a master scuba diver, instructor, master, then took up photography, then underwater photography, scuba diver, master, anything. He just had a photographic memory. And he said to me, he was itching for something to do because he got the golden handshake. So, what am I going to do? I'll take my neighbor kid here and see what I can do. And taught me WordPress, Facebook, and a couple of things. And that broke the ice. Okay. And I was always a numbers spreadsheet guy. So that didn't scare me a whole lot, right? So that broke the ice. And I think that helped a lot up to a certain point, because now that was just the tip of the iceberg. I had to build off of that. I came in with a little arrogance saying, Merchant Masteries, I know how to build a website. Wrong.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You think you know how to build a website and you're okay navigating around it. Now let's build a proper one. Okay. All right.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So
I can nail boards together so I can make a house. Or
yeah. So and then I just dove into it. It was like and I'll be totally candid with you. We when you're a contractor, you don't have a retirement plan. You do, and that is to eventually own a couple of houses as revenue property. But as fortune would have it, we lost everything. We lost 7 figures, lots, with no pension. So how or why did I do this? It's called survival. So take what I learned, transfer it into a digital world, see if I can make a retirement income.
Yeah.
And I'm doing okay. It's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. And I've had all the houses and toys. I don't need that anymore. So now it's, what's it cost to live a month, have a nice vacation? And that's my goals. I mean, all the other stuff was distractions anyways. I mean, how many cars do you need? How many fancy cars do you need? How many houses do you need? Right? I rent now. I rent an old home. And we moved out of our little office in Victoria because things got tough with COVID, and we manufacture in one of the bedrooms. Our overhead is nil.
Mm-hmm.
So there's sacrifices. If you want to be in business, you need to sacrifice. That's time. Your time, your ego, your money. Let it all go and be teachable. Hire the best guys. Move forward. Train a chimpanzee to do that. Maybe not.
Yeah. Lauren, thank you so much for the whole conversation and for coming back on. I really appreciate it.
Well, I hope it helps. Maybe there's some snippets that'll speak to somebody, but.
But I think there's a lot of snippets that will speak to people.
All right.
No,
All right, I'm glad I could help.
yeah,
Or
super
hopefully
appreciate
help.
it.
Yeah,